Good morning to everyone. I appreciate the introduction and look forward to talking to you today about the study that we conducted and the outcomes and recommended approaches. But before I do that, I'd like you to give me just a minute to indulge you with a quick story. So once upon a time, nestled in the gentle waves of Lake Erie, there was an island called South Bass. Its shores, once home to indigenous people, later became the launching point for Oliver Perry's legendary victory in the War of 1812. As the years passed, the island evolved into the vibrant and cherished community of Put-in-Bay. But with growth came complexity. Governed separately as both a township and a village, residents on the island began to feel the weight of missed opportunities and collaboration and representation that just can't fully be realized from a very small village of only about 150 people. Then, a group of passionate residents formed the Citizen Research Group. With dedication, transparency, and a deep love for their island, they studied the challenges and worked to discover a better path forward, to increase advocacy and build bridges instead of walls. The result? A stronger, more inclusive government structure, one that embraces community representation and could eventually bring the voices from every corner of South Bass Island to the table. And so through collaboration, not consolidation, this island community has taken great strides forward. The foundation is strong and the future is promising, and a happily ever after ending for Put-in-Bay isn't just a dream, it is within reach. And I believe you as a group of community citizens can really make that a reality. Now, I recognize my story is a little bit cheesy, but when I think about the opportunities for the island and your residents, I think about it as a storybook and how to find that great ending. And that is what my firm has been challenged to do, and look at all of the resources that you have and the opportunities. And I understand that the solutions do take dedication and action and resources, but it really is an exciting time for Put-in-Bay. And I've been impressed with this meeting turnout and the last public meeting turnout. It shows that there are so many people that are interested in a solution. So the CRG, Citizens Research Group, has done a ton of research, and they got to the point of really needing that unbiased and objective, professional, and legally sound review of all of the options for government restructuring. And so our objective at Local Gov Consultants was to examine the redundancy and potential to improve service delivery in order to enhance representation and clarify the government and optimize infrastructure investments for all residents, both village and township. We also really heavily relied on the research and stakeholder input gathered by Bowling Green. We really wanted to understand how much of the community was in support of one initiative or another, and ultimately restructuring. And our ultimate goal was to really recommend an achievable solution and provide you a roadmap on how to get there. So this is our project team. Local Gov Consultants is based in Dayton, Ohio, Southwest Ohio. We have about 11 consultants that work for our firm, but these three people really dedicated themselves to the Put-in-Bay study. I'm Pete Bales. I am the Vice Mayor of the City of Beaver Creek. Beaver Creek is a community outside of Dayton, about 49,000 residents. I've been a city manager and a township administrator and held multiple other positions in municipal government throughout my career. Charlotte Colley was really the lead project manager on this project. Her history includes being a county administrator. She's currently the assistant city manager for the city of Troy, Ohio. She also has village management experience. And then finally, Nick Cavaleris, he joined our team as the annexation expert. He is an attorney and he focuses solely on annexation, zoning, and land use. So between the three of us, we really were able to put our heads together and look at all sorts of amazing options and really recommend an approach that we think is best for the situation you're in right now. So we studied all of these different things you can see on the screen. We did a really in-depth background of Put-in-Bay and the history of Put-in-Bay and all of the issues. We took a deep dive into the financial assessments of both the village as well as the township to understand where the money is being spent on operations. And of course, we collaborated with BGSU on stakeholder engagement. And then we studied about 7 different restructuring options. And we really went very deep on all 7 of those, created pros and cons and legal opinions to get to our recommended approach. And then we did address the service levels and how they would be impacted as annexation occurs. So from a road perspective or a policing or sheriff's perspective, we looked at all of that. And then, of course, we formed a strategic recommendation and produced a report. So I'm going to kind of cut right to the chase here and discuss our recommended approach. We are recommending what's called a Type 2 expedited annexation. This is a property owner-driven annexation method and must be initiated by the property owner and then approved by the village council. If all of the required paperwork for the annexation is completed correctly and in a timely manner and approved by the village council, it does go to the county commissioners. But at that point, they have no choice but to approve it as long as everything is in line. The village must agree to provide services to the annexed area, so they really have to do a nice analysis of their ability to provide policing services and roadway maintenance and things like that. Properties who wish to be annexed into the village must be at least 5% contiguous to the existing village property. So it's going to be, this method takes kind of a slow approach, a slow build to growing the village, but it is with people who are interested in that participation and being a part of the village. Our recommendation also suggests leaving the current township boundaries in place and not messing with separation from the township. We believe that, again, kind of a collaborative approach is the best way to do it with the village and the township. It also ensures no real disruption in service. This approach highlights the benefits of incremental annexation driven by community support and addresses it parcel by parcel. And it gives the village and the township both time to evaluate and prepare for additional properties that come into the village and conversely leave the operational part of the township. It continues to build incremental support each time. And then finally, we did look at financial ramifications of both from the village and township, but also from the property owner's perspective. And taxes essentially do not increase at all from an annexation, and I'll get into that right now. So I think everybody might have been presented a packet of information, because I'm sure that what's on my screen right now you might not be able to see very clearly, but we compared 2 very, very similar tax bills from the auditor. One from Put-in-Bay Township resident Kim Morrison, who has an appraised value for her property of $367,380. And then one from the Acorn Sportsman Club that's in the village, and their appraised value is $373,170. So within $6,000 difference, we did choose to pick a village property that was slightly higher because we wanted to not skew the results in a negative manner from the village to the township and so forth. So we picked one that was very, very similar so that we could do as much of an apples to apples comparison as possible. So Kim's tax bill in the township includes township levies amounting to a total of $762.82 and park district levies of $130.24. That is about 22.6% of her taxes are paid to those two different levies. While the Acorn Sportsman's Club bill includes both township levies amounting to only $396.40, but also a village levy of $387.92 and a park district levy of $50.02, or 21.1% of the taxes. I think really the bottom line is we wanted to look at how the different levies impacted each bill and compared to the township and village. And the village tax bill for the Acorn Sportsman Club is $10 less expensive than that of Kim Morrison's. So the point is slightly lower, albeit minimal. This is a benefit to annexation. And so the overall impact on property taxes is really negligible if annexation is chosen. So we looked at 7 different government restructuring options, and the Type 2 annexation method was recommended because it really meets all of the Ohio Revised Code requirements, and it has a lot of reduced legal risks. Type 2 annexation has been challenged numerous times and is found to be legally sound. Also, according to the BGSU study, around 83% of those who were surveyed supported restructuring. The Type 2 annexation is a gradual cost issue to the village as parcels come in, so it's manageable for budgeting, and it protects the revenue of both the village and the township because of its incremental impact on their budgets and also their service delivery. It's much more less stressful on a local government to do parcel by parcel at a time or several parcels at a time than like the former recommendations to annex like the whole island at once. And really, from a political perspective, because it's a voluntary decision by each property owners, it takes kind of the politics out of it a little bit, because those individual property owners are making the choice to annex into the village. And then the bottom line is the more people, the more property that annex into the village increases the candidate pool for those who can serve in the local government. And we found that to be a very important aspect. These were the options that we looked at that were not recommended. We considered them all. We created pros and cons lists and legal analysis for each one of them. The full merger between the village and the township to kind of form one local government entity was not recommended. It has high political resistance and there's some high costs involved. The majority petition annexation, there's a lot of legal and financial risks to that, which caused it to be a less recommended option. A Type 1 annexation requires 100% consent from all residents, and that was just impractical to believe that 100% of every property owner would support it. We did look at separation of the village from the township, but really the whole point here isn't to create a political rift, and so we felt like that had significant negative financial and political impacts. We did look at dissolvement of the village, but really that loss of governance, autonomy, home rule, the ability to create your own ordinances as a village outweighed dissolvement by quite a bit. And then we also just said, well, what if we just do nothing? What if it's status quo? It really fails to address the ongoing inefficiencies and citizen participation that really is the crux to this entire study. So I really want to encourage you all to read the detailed report. It is online at the bassislandstudy.org. It will help you gain a much deeper understanding of the issues that we studied, and also the Bowling Green studies are in there to gain residential insight. And remember what I said at the beginning of the presentation, that original cheesy kind of story I read? The Citizens Research Group has spent so much time and resources and come this far. They are really taking the right steps to engage the community in an open and honest dialogue. I think 99.9% of the cities and villages in the state of Ohio would love to have an advocacy group like the Citizens Research Group, because they are really taking those steps to make their community a better place. There's a lot of work to be done, but I think as the group gains momentum and annexations start to happen, their group of 10 people become 20 and then 40 and so on, and the annexations continue, the momentum will really become unstoppable, and the village will grow much, much stronger. So with that, I want to thank you for the opportunity to kind of give you a brief overview, and I look forward to the rest of the presentation today, and I'll stick around and answer some questions. And now I'm going to turn it back over to John.